This episode of the In Focus series features River Daz. River is an Australian Muay Thai fighter, warrior kickboxer and trainer out of Hammer's Gym in Melbourne, Australia. Hey River,
Cool.
welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Hey, how are you, man? Thanks for having me on, Will. I'm actually super excited for this. Man, look at that hair.
Look at that hair. Straight off the bat, what's it like training at Hammer's Gym? And have you trained elsewhere before? And what led you to training at Hammer's?
That's a big question. I've never really trained. I've trained elsewhere. I've trained over in Thailand. I've trained at other gyms. I've gone to some of my friends' gyms as well. But seriously, I think what's kept me at Hammer's Gym is just I have too many friends there now. They're like Hammer's like a brother to me. Adam in the photo as well is also just one of my best buds, and it's just another home for me now. I live and breathe Hammer's Gym, more so Muay Thai, and everything I want to do is for the people that go to the gym and that little community wherever I can help out, I'm there. So in terms of just heading or starting Muay Thai, I was just looking for a new sport. I heard about it. One of my cousins, Reza, he was just like, "Yeah, I do Muay Thai. You should give it a shot." And I was always a big fan of boxing. Never really heard about Muay Thai until Reza told me about it, and I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." I walked into the gym, and I've been there ever since. I caught it like a bug. Caught it like COVID. I was just basically there every single day, and that's basically just kept me on track. I've learned too much about myself, and also in terms of positive and negative. I've learned a lot about myself in terms of the flaws I have that I can continue to work on. So just Hammer's Gym is my home. Currently, my second home is currently closed down because of stage 4, but it is tough times for everyone. But, we're going to get through this as we always do, and we'll come back bigger and stronger. So it is what it is right now. But
yeah,
I miss it. I miss training. I miss, I'm a bit lost. This was Hammer's Gym, and basically fighting has been my life for the last 5 to almost 10 years. But saying that, having the time to actually sit back, reflect, and actually step away from it, I realized that I was actually kind of really burnt out. I used to love watching fights. I used to watch every day. My YouTube feed would just be covered in fights.
Oh, same here, man.
But now it's I could barely look at it. So not until I was forced to stop actually going to the gym did I realize you actually do need a little bit of a break. So it's good and bad, but I still miss my home. But I'm kind of happy, fortunate, or trying to look at it as a positive that, I have a break, time to reflect, let's go. And when we get back into it, I'm ready to go 100%.
Perfect, man. Just touching on a team aspect, obviously you guys are wearing the same gear, the classic flames. I was speaking to him about this on another episode. He was having a laugh about his old school look. But you guys seem to have a certain aura about you backstage when you're all in your team outfit, and when you walk out, there's a special aura of you guys walking out together in the same unison, with Hammer leading the team and the fighter right behind him. What's that like for you as you're walking into the ring?
Man, it's 100%. I need it. I need a really strong support team. And I can't have anyone better than Hammer in my corner, because he knows when to put me in line, and then he also knows when to let me loose. Just because of our relationship and what we've had to go through, just from training and, just seeing each other every day. He knows basically everything about me in terms of my personal life. He's been such a very wonderful mentor that, I'm very just grateful just to, come across, I had no intentions of fighting when I first started. I had no intentions of doing Muay Thai. It was never really I was always a fan of fighting. I was always a fan of boxing, but in terms of me doing it personally, it never really came across until Hammer really just asked me 2 to 3 times, "Hey, you should probably do it because, you might actually be great at it." And then collectively, the people that I surround myself with are basically my training buddies, and I want to experience everything I'm experiencing now, luckily, but I want to be able to experience them with all my friends that have put in the work with me, man. Like Adam, the one standing behind me, he went to Germany with me. Was it Germany, France? He went to France with me.
Yeah.
And that was an experience. It was like that plus my very first international fight in Las Vegas. He was there too. He stayed up for like 48 hours just so he could watch the fight, and he was there with me. And having these experiences is amazing, but then being able to experience them with like basically your family. I just want to live my life and be able to give all these stories and be able to talk to people about their stories. So, it's just in terms of like walking into the ring and having your support base behind you. Like I feel like, to me personally, that I can really achieve anything when I just know there's someone standing behind me. It just gives me that little bit more of confidence,
Yeah. Perfect, man.
Woo!
Going back here,
this is
at Lilydale Fight Night with my good promoter, Lick Lund. So he actually was one of the promoters that gave me my break when I was starting out working at shows. So I was doing a lot of shows out in Lilydale, out in the outer suburbs too, because when you're starting out, you have to start at the local scene to get to where you want to get to. And I see a lot of people coming up. I see a lot of first-timers, seasoned people coming from local shows like this. And then I happened to see you there too. This was one of your early fights. I think the first time seeing you fight. And one of the first fighters I saw from Hammer's gym besides Chris Harrington. And yeah, so I think you were semi-main event or towards the end of the night. This was for a title fight for like a IKBF Muay Thai belt.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, what was it like fighting at a venue like this? Obviously, you weren't the crowd favorite. I think everyone in the crowd right there were against you. What did you remember from this moment?
Man, I think this is probably I think this fight and the fight before. This is Tyrone. He's my draw. So he's that little blemish on my record at the moment. That second fight, I should take it back. That second fight is where I felt, I think, the most scared, and also like fear actually overtook me in the second fight. I didn't perform. I was scared. I was scared as hell. I remember like in the back, and I was like curled up.
I remember the fight. You seemed very tense, but you still performed well. But I could feel like you weren't as loose as you are now.
Yeah, I was shooting bricks, man. I don't know. Like for some reason that particular fight, the second one, I just had no faith in my ability. I went to a real dark place, and I think for that, when I was talking about learning about yourself through fighting, really just like if you talk to yourself negatively and you really like believe that you're terrible, you will perform really bad. Like, and then again, talking about my support crew, Hammer in the third round of that second fight, he basically like he had these eyes that were looking into my soul and were just like, if you don't perform now, you're going to disrespect me, you're going to disrespect the gym. It's like, you just see, like, if you watch that fight back
saying
now, that. Like, I was just like this, like, whoa, man, okay, I better do something about it. But like, I just remember that fight, and especially leaving that fight, having that draw, it really did feel like I lost that fight. And it wasn't because I lost it in the ring. It was just more, I defeated myself before even walking in there. I never actually ever wanted to be in there. And then I was fortunate enough, not many people are, to get that rematch back, which was in about 2 weeks' time, which is this photo. And they offered up IKBF state title. And I was like, yeah, for sure, let's do this. Because in my heart, in my head, I knew that I could beat him. I was like, yep, let's go. We could do this. Let's do it in his backyard in Lilydale.
Yeah. Because the first time was at Doncaster, now in his backyard.
Yeah. And I remember walking to that into the arena, or just walking in there, and then hearing crickets when they said my name. I had like my family there, and I had like 2 or 3 other friends, but they were loud. They were really, really loud. Like Sandy, Liam. I remember just hearing them just go nuts. Like, but there was like 3 people to like 500 people. So, but this was a really good experience. Probably one of my favorite fights, actually, because, just a little bit of faith, you could probably go a long way. So, yeah.
Knowing what you know now as a pro fighter at the top level, is there anything, what's one piece of advice that you would give to Little River in this fight right here?
Man, to be honest, like going back, looking at all these fights, I wish I could take like I used to be so relentless. I had like when I was fighting, I think the fear of losing is what motivated me the most. And I would I I think almost out of ignorance and not really knowing a lot, I would just throw whatever until I gas out. I wish I had that now because like now you have to be so much more calculated. But if I just got rid of that now, then and be a bit more of an entertainer, just like
Us, you are an entertainer. I've seen you fight. You can throw anything you want whenever you want to, but
thank you, my man.
Yeah.
Thank you. But like what I would tell himself now is that from looking back here, from me talking to him, my past self, I'd say just believe in yourself a bit more. You know, if just go for it. Just take every shot you can. All the shots that you don't take, you miss. So take that shot. Always just go for it, 100%. So I just live by that, man. So we'll see. We'll see.
Moving forward.
Oh, dude, I'm loving these photos, bro. Like, I'm looking back, I'm like, I got hair, I got a full fringe, I have like no tattoos. This is crazy.
Young River Daz. Moving forward, this was your debut on Rebellion Muay Thai on Road to Rebellion 5, and you actually fought a very tough opponent in Josh Thomas. The pit. Like, this is what a way to test yourself in the Muay Thai scene by fighting someone from a pure Muay Thai gym with someone with a walk forward style like Josh Thomas. What do you remember from this fight? One of your early full Thai rules fight too, wasn't it?
Yeah, this brings it back. This was my first Rebellion fight as well. It was at 64 kilos. He was a lot bigger than me.
Yeah.
I think I was walking around like max 66 kilograms. We took the fight and he was from the pit. Yeah, he came forward. I remember the first round.
He kept pushing for the clinch, engaging towards you.
Yeah, that was it. Like, I was gassed. I was really, really gassed. And then I think second and third, I let emotion take over me. I just had it in my head that I could just stand there and trade elbows with him. For some reason, like, I know I'm the smaller fighter here, and I also knew that in terms of my footwork was probably the best thing to utilize against him because he was walking forward. He would walk into anything that I was throwing. But I think this is when emotion really takes a hold of me, is when I feel like, I think more ego than pride. I basically just stood there in front of him and tried to trade elbows, which was the most stupid idea. I remember Hammer and Chris telling me that's probably the one thing that is landing on you and you should probably stop doing that. But I know it was like one ear, and out the other. I was very lucky I won that fight, to be honest. I think in the third round, I gave him 2 jumping knees and I think he gassed. I was pretty gassed, but I honestly believe that my work rate is probably what beat him there. You should really listen to your coaches, guys, because they're just telling you everything you need to know. Don't believe that you can do it on yourself. I tried to trade. I remember he hit me with an elbow. I think it was my first cut too. And that was it. I was hooked. Like, I think also this fight, I was hooked with elbowing people. I loved it.
I actually rewatched this fight this morning, and your footwork made a difference. It's really hard for like a pure Muay Thai stylist to prepare for because just the way you move in and out, angling off, it's a testament to Hammer's training. Like, you use that to your advantage really, really well.
Yeah, that's right. I remember like in the third round, he just kept coming forward. I remember like he just kept walking to my round kicks. And I should have just kept doing that. But he kept closing me down. The pit are really known for that, just that walk forward, hard style. That was a real test. That was 100% one of like a real test of my ability at that time. Plus it was the first Rebellion. I was real nervous. I remember walking, I was like standing in front of him just before we walked out, and I was shitting bricks. So I was looking at, I'm like, do I really belong here? This is like walking up into this fight. I was like, I want to do this. I really want to, I want to be a fighter. I've always wanted to fight in Rebellion. Finally got the opportunity.
Do you think that added more nerves to you fighting on a show like Rebellion for the first time?
Yeah, I don't know. I set the bar way too high in my head. I think I overthink a lot of these things. I don't know. I was set out for greatness, but like this fight, every time I always have this lack of confidence just before I walk in. It's not until recently, probably my second glory fight, that I actually finally started to enjoy, fighting. Like, it actually felt like I wanted to be there. Like, every other fight up until then, I've always been scared. I've always wanted to perform well, but I always feel like in my head, it's a really hard feat to achieve. So, yeah.
I would have never known this.
Yeah, man. I think I'm probably one of the most annoying fighters backstage, because I walk around with lollies just trying to make sure everyone else is happy, because in my head, I'm like scared. I'm scared, and I just need to keep, like, one thing with me when I get really nervous is that I stop talking, and people can really tell when I'm really nervous. And then I just walk around. I try and cheer everyone else up, or I just try and chat. But then I find that I feel like I'm annoying their preparations for their fight. So this, I don't even know where I'm going with the story, bro.
That's all good, man. Just flow with it. Now, something tells me that you love your push kicks, because I've seen your push kick done and worked on many, many fights, from early fights to your later fights too. Now, this particular fight with Liam McNeil, there was a great lead up with this fight. I obviously saw both you guys from the start of your careers to where you guys are now. And Liam, I think he started a little bit before you, and Liam McNeil, pure Muay Thai stylist. I think I was talking to him about this. All the odds were stacked against you. Liam had the perfect range, perfect build for his Muay Thai style. But you were able to overcome this. What do you remember about the lead up with this fight? And just out of curiosity, do you do much research with your opponents or people up and coming, or is that all Hammer's job?
Before Glory, I used to leave it up to Hammer and everyone around me. Like, I always had it in my head that I should just worry about my own technique and then leave it up to my trainers to then worry about who I'm dealing with, and let's work on that strategy that they build around me. And for me, I think that was just being naive and a bit more, again, just going back to being scared. But sometimes I used to watch fights and be like in awe. And I know, like, I'd watch Liam and Liam's elbows, and I'd be like, I don't know if I can handle this, like, type of thing. Like, I always go through these debates in my own head, if it's a good fight or not.
Because before this fight, Liam came off a really strong win on Warriors Way against Dominic Reed, and that was a fight of the night. And I think you were also fighting that night too, so you would have seen him fight.
That's right. Yeah. And then I think he fought Kiw as well.
Yes.
And then he caught him with that spinning back before this fight as well.
Yeah.
And he looked really strong. You know, he worked at MMA Fight Store, and I used to go in there regularly and just talk to him. We are friends outside of the ring. And then he just kept asking me, and in my head I was always like, why do you want to fight me? Like, why? What's with it? Why do you continue on? Like, I never said yes. I always just kept pushing it aside. Like, nah, man, it'll be excellent. It'll be like the best fight ever. I'm like, I don't know. Like, should we do this? But it ended up being, this is probably one of my favorite fights, like, throughout my career.
Can you tell me about the prep? And did it play out to how you thought it would play out?
Preparation. I've never worked so hard. Hammer had it in my head that, you know, you need to work hard for this one. He's a name. He's a big fight. It's for a title. You know, I did really, really train hard for this. I was cutting weight early. I was dieting well. And I tried to be as professional as I could for this fight, just because I respected him, like 100%. And then the weigh-ins were cool. I think finally standing in front of him, like, I've never like before this fight, I'd never really been friends with any of my competition, but like, we were chatting, we were talking. It was really weird to have, like, in my head, I was thinking, how am I going to be able to switch from being your mate to then, you know, being a killer in the ring? And
when did you switch? Was it backstage or was it the start of the first round?
I think it was backstage. Backstage is normally when I just switch on. It's like everything just dials in, and I'm like, I know what I'm here for. This is all business. No hard feelings, man. Like, at the end of the day, I know we're going to be friends at the end of this, but for that 15 or 30 minutes in the ring, man, you're like, we're going to go full at it, and I wouldn't be happy if you didn't give it your 100%. And I know you surely would not be happy if I didn't give my 100%. And we just put all friendship aside. And I think that was a crazy fight too in terms of crowd. Like I remember he had like 100 people.
You guys, I think there was an even amount of support between both you guys.
Yeah, it was the loudest. Like I know we were like not co-main, we were high up in the card, but we weren't main event or anything. But it sounded like a main event. That was the loudest I've ever heard. St. Kilda Hall. Like I heard his name out. I'm like, holy shit, damn, he's got a lot of people there. And then I walk out and everything just erupted. I think that was the best part. I think I love a full house, and knowing that half of that place was for me, it was super crazy. Yeah. And the fight led up to what it was actually, it led up to what it was supposed to be. It took down the ref, yeah. That's cool. But yeah, I even remember like he got really angry in the fight. You can see in the video, and I told him to calm down. And I'm like, why am I doing that? I'm like, why am I telling you to calm down, dude? Like, this is a competition, but this is probably just me thinking that we're still friends. That was a good fight. I actually love that fight. I'm gonna watch that fight again, man.
You mentioned Kiw. He was probably your first Thai fighter that you fought, like fighter from Thailand. What's it like preparing for a Thai? And I think the classic rule is you don't fight Thai style with a Thai fighter. How did you go prepping for a fighter like Kiw?
Kiw, I think it was more, what we were most worried about is his southpaw. I think I've never really been good with southpaws. Majority of my fights with southpaws have always been very difficult. With Kiw, I don't know. I remember hitting with some heavy shots, and he just took them like a champ.
He's very crafty, very smart.
He's very, very clean, very sharp. I don't know. I just remember just throwing pressure. And then I remember everyone was telling me that he also had some deadly elbows. But in my head, I just every time it comes to a Thai, it's like just work your simple boxing skills, jab, cross, jab. And that's usually just enough. But I found it very difficult to corner him. I found it very difficult. He was very, very agile with his footwork. Always loved being behind the ropes, but was always crafty, I think. But one thing I remember was that he didn't hit very hard. So if I could relive that fight again, I would always like to sit there with him a bit more. That's really all I remember from that fight, man. Like I was just in awe of his footwork, how evasive he was. That's a sharp knee. But is that low? I think that's low. Is that low?
No one needs to know that. No one needs to know.
But in terms of first ties, just the round kicking. I've always wanted like beautiful round kicks. Like I still don't think like I get caught up in the hips or something. It's just those loose round kicks. And especially kickers are not my forte. They know how to keep range, use that beautiful push kick, and I like to throw hands. But I just remember that fight being close, but it wasn't one of my most memorable fights, that's for sure. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Thanks, man.
What do you remember from this event, this venue?
Damn. Dude, I was real nervous. I was really nervous because everyone was saying that I was going to fight Ramesh in the final. I would love to relive this memory.
Was this the first four-man?
This was the first four-man. I'd love to fight Lee Fook again. I remember, I think 3 rounds just wasn't enough. I remember at the end of the third with Lee, and I was like, this was a close fight. Let's probably have a rematch. We never got to have that rematch. Still looking for it because I don't. Has he retired?
I think Lee is still fighting. I think you guys match up really well together.
Yeah. Because like he was a strong southpaw. He had really good kicks. His timing and his elbows. You know, he was a tough. I respect him 100%. He's a man. I just remember after the third, and I remember catching him with that elbow, but it didn't get really heated until the third round. And I was like, I would love to have this fight again. I just want to fight the best people. And he really did bring out the best in me, because I remember walking to that ring knowing that Lee was everything that I hate, basically. Southpaw, tough, walk forward, real sharp. And that's particularly something that I don't work really well against.
Because you only had a short amount of time with each fighter, 3 rounds. Did you have a game plan within those 3 rounds to get through each of the fighters that you had planned?
It was more, I had like a couple tactics. Like Hammer's like, okay, let's like hold off. Let's just like point score. Let's just like do enough just to get through to the last round, assuming that we were going to fight Ramesh. Yeah. So like everyone had it that Ramesh was going to take it out. And I was always looking forward to that fight as well. Not now because we're teammates and I don't think that will ever happen. But I always wanted, because like, again, Lee, southpaw, kicks well, very tough. And then Ramesh, if we were to walk in and actually have that fight with him, he's the ultimate kicker. He's a head kicker. He knows distance very well, knows timing very well. He would have been the ultimate challenge. Knowing that now, that would have been a really, really tough fight after sparring him so many times. But yeah, one of the tactics was let's take it easy. And then the other side of me is like, no, let's give it everything we've got. Let's just assume that there's not another fight coming along, and let's just punch on with the first one. So,
because for formats, you've got to be very careful of cuts, especially in Thai boxing. Like you can't afford to walk into elbows in the first leg of a tournament. Otherwise, you can't proceed.
Yeah, and he cut me too. I remember he cut me too. I walked into the fighting Indigo boy with a cut and a really banged up leg. Lee Fook took out my footwork straight away. He was like smacking my inside leg kick, smacking my inside thigh, sorry. And I just remember like after that fight, really struggling to walk, trying to put on a brave face. And then I had like ice packs all over my legs. And then I had like another one just over my eyebrow. That fight, I really want to fight Lee again. Is that a caller? I don't even know. But like, I just want
I'll talk to Lee.
It was just a really good test, man. Like, I look back at it, all the fights that I have, and I just want to, that was someone I really respect. So I want to give that another shot for sure.
What was it feeling winning the 4-man?
Man, before that, walking into the ring for the second time, I think that is the most comfortable I've ever felt. I think that's the feeling. It just felt like I was sparring. It's just without shin guards. Like I felt so comfortable. Like seeing everyone around me was just fun to have everyone watch me. I felt like I was fully immersed in it. I wasn't overthinking anything. I stuck to the game plan. Everything felt smooth, clean, sharp, and just a whole lot of fun. That's like the feeling that I want to have every time I walk into the ring. I've only ever had it twice, but that was probably the best feeling. And then winning the 4-man tournament. I've always wanted to be in a 4-man. I think it was a 4-man with Tomahawk. Who else was in it? A Warriors Way 4-man. It was Tomahawk. It was also Nick Allen. Who else was in it?
Eden Sayedi.
Yeah. I remember watching that 4-man. I was like, that's the ultimate goal, to be part of a 4-man and winning it. I always wanted. After that, I was like, I think I remember I was part of that card. It was like my second fight, and that was just my goal. That was always been my goal. Always wanted to be part of a 4-man and an 8-man, and to be able to win that, man, I'm over the moon. That right there, that check's still stuck up on my wall in my bedroom. So.
I was going to ask, where's that check right now?
Hammer took him for the second point. I'm like, Hammer, I'm getting that back. Man, that's like one of my best memories.
Awesome, man. Now, every time I'm at Hammer's gym, I'm always seeing you either training, teaching, or doing your own workout on the side. I never see you doing your own thing. You're always in a class. You're always integrated. And that's one of the difference I see with yourself and even the fighters at Hammer's gym. It's a very team-oriented gym. The fighters are the same as everyone else. There's no special treatment. Fighters don't get to do their own thing on a bag and just come in and pop out. You guys do the same curriculum. Can you talk about the training regimen at Hammer's gym and how has it changed with post-COVID?
Look, I think training, man, like teaching kids especially. when I first started, I never really got a full reward from it. I'm like, teaching kids is really hard. I found it was more enticing to me to teach kids because if you can break it down and be able to teach a child how to do a technique, then you really must know how to throw that technique, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I was getting out of it. And then I'll call it like probably 6 years later, and you have the same kids talk to you, and some of them are like 8 years old who are now teenagers, 15, 16. And you look up to them, and their parents tell you, man, you've really changed their lives. You've let them grow, been confident. I think that's starting to become a really rewarding fact for me, looking back. But in terms of training, especially before, it was, okay, if you want Hammer to hold pads to you, or if you want someone to hold pads to you of a higher rank, then you first have to give back and make sure that you don't want to be selfish. You be like, yeah, I'm one of the best fighters in the gym for sure, but there's no ego. It's a very martial arts feel. You don't want that at the gym. Just that family base. Like, they're my support crew. I don't want to do anything to anyone at that gym.
I mean, we both know fighters that only come to fight to train if there's a fight coming up, and then when there's no fights coming up, you can't see him, and then you have to struggle to actually call them back into the gym. And I've had that from experiences at my gym too, but I don't think you're that way at all.
Yeah, what else is there to do though? Like, I got nothing else to do if I'm not fighting. So it's like, where else would I going to be? Like, this is probably the only positive thing for me currently during COVID, but like, I can't even do that now. It's like, I'm trying to find new hobbies to do to replace my current hobby now, but nothing is as replaceable as what I love doing, which is Muay Thai and fighting. In terms of post-COVID, I found it really difficult. I think for me, I'm not a big fan of like online training, or like, I just love the fighting aspect, and I love sparring, and I love teaching how to fight better, but you can't do that without human interaction and human contact. So in terms of Zoom classes, like, I love doing them because I know other people need them more than I do. And I know it's the only thing that I can give back to the community at the moment. But I do miss it. I do miss, like, pre-COVID times, and I just miss like having everyone there. I remember like when we were able to teach at the gym, and then one person per bag. Sorry guys, we can't do drills. It just sounded really difficult. Like, it was killing me inside. I'm like, sorry guys, I really want everyone to spar right now. I want to jump in as well, and I'm a people pleaser as well. Like, I just would be like, hey, if like 3 people tell me you want to spar, okay, let's spar. But like, I just can't do that. Yeah. I can't be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that helps spread COVID at all. So
yeah,
for me, it's hurting a bit because I'm not allowed to fight. And I'm getting really hungry at the moment. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way how to leave the country so that I can go train, but there's nothing that we can do at the moment. So,
well, back when you could train full time, what was a typical training camp like for you for one of your pro fights?
For me, man, it's always been a juggle. Like, I make sure that I can try and teach everything in the morning. So I used to do all the morning Muay Thai classes at 6 a.m.
Yep.
And then I would have my own strength and conditioning program after my PTs at 10. And then I would have a little break. I'd teach kids from 4:30 to 6, and then I would train from 6 to 8. And that would be my normal day, Monday to Friday. But it was always just a juggle. It was a juggle between teaching classes, making sure I was making enough money just to live, and then also making sure I had all my fight prep on top of it. It was a very busy day. I don't know how long I can keep that up, really, but I'm going to try and do my best with that.
And you're living and breathing to fight, but also living and breathing Hammer's gym. Yeah,
basically, like, well, look, I put my life and soul into this. I'm going to try and take this as far as I can. And, Hammer's done so much for me already. Like, what else? There's nothing else I can do but give back. That's all I can give him. That's all I can offer. So that's all I do. This is probably my life for the rest of my life, man. Like, probably looking forward when I have to retire, it's probably something I want to do in the future is just teach, because it comes so naturally, it comes so easy to me. But not right now. Not right now. I've still got my head stuck on winning that belt. So, yeah.
I think I heard you said at a post-fight speech how, you fought all over the world, but you still find the Doncaster Shopping Town Hotel to be one of your favourite venues and favourite scenes. What does this venue mean to you? And what's it like for you to prepare for your fights backstage at the Doncaster Shopping Town Hotel, or just backstage in general?
Like, this is where it all started, man. Like, I have so many memories at this place. There's nothing better than when you have your whole friends and family just cheer your name. I think that is probably what I love about it the most, is the atmosphere. So, because it's Hammer's show, plus it's Hammer's gym, I'm Hammer's fighter. It's very,
that level of comfort.
It's just ultimate comfort. A lot of pressure too, because it's all your friends and family. But I found it was probably the most comfortable. I know where I'm going to be. I know how everything works. Everything's very streamlined. Everything's very smooth. And you just don't get any other vibe. It's a very small stage. And like, it's very jam-packed, especially on the busiest nights. It's like, it's cram-packed with people, but the atmosphere is just, you just can't beat it, man. And plus, like, everywhere you look around the ring, you know someone. And I just love that. I love that a lot. I love that when if I can't pick myself up, and if Hammer can't pick myself up, then, you know, I can see someone in the corner and be like, hey, there's my mate there. And you can just see him cheering for me. And I love that. I love that the most. I love that, like, everyone in every corner, I can see someone that I'm friends with. And I'm a big entertainer, and I love putting on a show, and I just want to put on a show for all my friends. And my friends are spending good money just to be there. So that's probably why it's the best experience.
It's hard to get the venue vibe unless you've been there. So it's a very intimate, small venue, and even standing in the ring, you can see the crowd. Even though it's dark, you can still see their faces looking at you because you're not that far away. It's a smaller ring as well.
It's smaller ring. And I've had I've just had some really good experiences, especially after the fight. I get to chill with everyone, you know. I get to see everyone. I've made so many friends at Warriors Way. I've made so many friends at all Muay Thai events. It's very nice community. Once you fully immerse yourself in it, everyone's so friendly. Especially all the fighters became very close friends. The majority of the fighters is just purely because of the love of what we do. Yeah. And we all live around the area, so it's even better than that, man. What can be better than that?
Perfect, man. Let's move forward to backstage after a fight. Now, Mr. River Daz, you've undefeated. What's it like going backstage after a fight, after you won, and letting loose and just relaxing?
Oh man, it depends on the fight, really. Like I'm my biggest critic. It really depends on the fight. Like, sometimes I can walk out there and I'll just be fuming. I'm trying to remember a fight. Who was it? I think it might have been, was it Q? Who was it? No, it was the fight with Juniku. The Australian title fight. Yeah. I wasn't even annoyed at my performance. That was the best feeling, having that win. That was a really strong win as well. I just remember also before, I was talking to Hammer in the ring, and I'm like, I'm really nervous. And I get caught up on all these bad feelings, especially after the fight. Like, I self-analyze too much. I think that's a real big flaw for me. I always think I could have been better. I could have done better. Even I had that knockout win, I was still like, yeah, I think there could have been better moments, if that makes sense. So it depends. Like some days I'm over the moon and I just want to go talk to everyone. I'm barely in the backstage. I'm usually in the crowd like 5 minutes later. Yeah. And then some days I'm like, even though unfortunately I've won, but all of my fights, I still look back and sometimes I can be real pissed off at myself, and just because I didn't perform well. So, but I remember this fight especially. This fight was after the first Rebellion fight with Josh Thomas. I was relieved. I was over the moon. But I was also kicking extreme. I was like, man, I'm sorry. I could have done better if I was just listening. And then that's when I get caught up, when I self-criticize myself. Like, I'm very hard on myself, and I should ease up on that, I think, looking back at this. Yeah.
You've done well, man. To stay undefeated for so long, you're doing something right with yourself and the team.
Yeah, exactly right. The pace is still the same, so I'm still happy.
Yeah. Now, we both know Hammer, it can be quite vocal in the ring between fights. What's some of his word of advice that will give you between fights?
I say good, bad, or all of it, or where do you want to start?
Anyway,
Then I think our relationship, you can really see our relationship grow, especially when we're in the corner. When we first started, I was very timid. I just listened to him, and everything he would say would go. Sometimes back at the start, there were things that I knew that were working that he couldn't see, but I wouldn't raise up with him. And he just knows what to say at the right time. Whenever he just knows me. And I think it's only after years of friendship and years of loyalty to each other and our training and putting all that hours in, do you really get to know someone. So he knows exactly what to say to me at the right time. Like talking back about the Juniku fight. I remember after the first round, I was like up to him, like, Hammer, I'm really, really nervous. I'm still scared. Can't pull my shot. I'm still pulling my shots. Don't really know where to go. But he looked into my soul again. He was like, dude, what's there to be nervous about? You've got this guy, go for it. And second round, we were able to get that knockout. So just like an example of like, he just knows exactly what to say to me at the exact same time. Yep. And then leading up into the later part of my career and looking at Glory, it's turning more into a conversation. I'm able to chat with him and be like, hey, look, probably this round kick's working on him. So it's just grown. It's grown massive since how we first started. It used to be him just dictating everything I'm doing, but now it's like, okay, man, all right, my legs hurt here, but I think if we can do this, and it turns into a real good conversation. And it also allows him to really understand where I'm coming from, especially being in the ring. And plus, he puts a lot of trust in me too. He's like, okay, you can finally take the reins on your fighting skills as well. All right, I'm just here as well. So you can also take a back seat and he can calm down a bit sometimes.
You don't get that overnight. That's like years of bonding from first fight to where you are now. People expect, if I just find a trainer like Hammer overnight or after one fight, you get that.
Yeah. We've got years behind us, man. Like he, Hammer is he's a very strong man. He's a very tough man, and trying to tell him that some things may not be right is sometimes a very difficult thing to do. Yep. Just because of just how much respect you have for him, because, he's been in the top of the game. But to be able to have these conversations while we're doing our business in the ring, you can't do that after a year or 2 years of being with your trainer. We've been together for 10 years. It was way, way before I started fighting. I'd already done 4 years with him, the ins and outs of the gym. And yeah, it's just a really strong. I honestly, I don't know, like purely because of our history together, it's going to be really difficult. It's like, not saying that I am ever going to leave the gym or anything like that, but I don't know. It'd be very hard to even think about doing that, if that makes sense. I have too much trust in the man. I have too much loyalty to the man to be, just to leave and assume that there's someone better out there for me. You know what I mean? He's already given me everything that I've ever wanted. I'm on the world stage because of him. He was able to get those connections. So I can only ever just thank him enough for everything he's done for me and my family. So yeah,
I think it goes both ways too. Hammer can see, his results working from his first fight, also taking his training regime in a fighter like yourself, taking it to the world stage.
Yeah. It's just been a really nice long journey. I just wish that we can continue pushing forward with everything that's happening at the moment. I know COVID has slowed us down a bit, but in terms of, where our head's at and where we want to take it, we still have that laser-like focus. And I don't want to do it with anyone else. I don't trust anyone else, It's like, how can you build like a 10-year relationship in like overnight? Yeah. Does that make sense? It's like, yeah. And plus he deserves this as much as I do, he's put in the time and effort as well. So whatever I do, wherever I go, he should be the one in the corner. So yeah.
Perfect. Now, I love taking these kind of TKO victory photos, seeing the winner, seeing the person that's fallen on the side. There's just so much raw emotion that comes out of this. You can't fake it. And having a background in martial arts, you can't fake this moment. You can't tell them, oh, can you please go back and hit him again and I can retake the shot. It's timing, it's experience to get the right composition, and also talking about that venue. You can see all your friends, you can see everyone backstage.
Yeah, man.
You're telling a story from this. Now, I think your most recent TKO moments, you've had a lot of them, I lost count, was like I said, the Juniku moments. What was going through your mind right now at this moment?
Man, I remember, so that picture just before that, I think that was the second round, and that was, I think, 16 seconds in from memory. Yep. I remember that fight, and I was just like, when you hit someone and hit them so clean, it feels like nothing. You hit like a paper bag, right? And the first thing that always goes through my head is, what the fuck? Did I really just do that? Like, did that just happen? Like, I am probably the most shocked when something lands like that. And that's just the best feeling. And then it's like, okay, after that, who the hell do I celebrate with? Do I run the hammer? I run the hammer. And then I'm like, wait, my family's behind me. So that's why you always catch me like halfway through. I'm always just like up and back. I just want to celebrate.
You can see yourself here. Just trying to look for someone to celebrate with. Over here, you're going to your friends. And then over here, you're going straight to hammer.
Yeah, like, where do I go? Like, I remember, if you see any of my knockouts, my head goes like, what do I do? Is this it? That's it? Okay, let's go. And, oh man, but it's probably the best feeling. When you put everything together and everything, like, just works, or like that one shot lands, you're like, yes, I'm actually good at this. Okay.
Sometimes it goes towards me as well.
Yeah, man, I remember that. I was like, do I go to hammer? Hammer's not in the ring yet. So, Will, man, yes. Hammer put it in my head. He's like, you just have to perform. Because I think after this fight, we were in negotiations with Glory at the time. It was around August. And Ham was like to me, he's like, you can't afford to lose anything at the moment. He just put a lot of pressure on me. He just like, yes, this was a fight that, yes, we felt confident. We're like, okay, we could do this. Not so decisively, but we already knew that we were quite strong. But we had our eyes already set further along the way. We're like, okay, Gloria already started talking to us. Let's just really put a stamp. You don't earn an Australian title yet, but that will just look better on your resume if you do get it. So in my mind, I had just this fire in my belly just to perform as well as I could. It's probably why I was so nervous. I was like I explained before, after that first round, especially because he got me with a double elbow, double spinning elbow. He did like one and then stand the opposite way, which actually shook me. And then walking in the corner, I'm like, Hammer, I'm really nervous. But like I said before, Hammer really just brings it out of me. I felt confident walking into the ring. Just as soon as Hammer told me just to go for it, I went at it and everything just worked. Everything just fell into place, My jumps were clean. My hands were sharp. And I knew he was nervous. I remember talking to him before at the weigh-ins, and he was a bit timid, a bit shy, and I really just tried to feed off that as a positive for myself. Yeah.
You're always very calm when I see you at weigh-ins. Like, your personality is the same when I see you at shows. When I see you at the weigh-ins, it's normally the same as when I see you at the gym. Do you try to, how can I say this? Do you ever try to suss out your opponents at the weigh-ins to see how they'll perform on fight night? Do you see any tell signs?
No, for me, I always see the more casual you are, shows confidence. I think if you try and put it on, you can always tell. And I don't see it like, yes, we're about to fight, but I don't see it as it's just competition to me. It's not, there's no emotion, there's no rivalry, there's nothing that makes it, I'm not emotionally invested in this, if that makes sense. This is purely just sport. I love what I do. You love what you do. Let's just put on a good show. And that's my mentality when it especially comes into weight. Yes, I'm starving. Yes. Yes, I haven't eaten. I'm dehydrated, but there's no point to me, being angry and like putting it on my opponent, like, this is your fault. No, I put myself here. That's purely my fault. Yeah. Like, I put myself through a 3-hour weight cut or whatever it is, like a 1 week. I made You know, I dropped like 5 to 8 kilograms. That's on me. That's not your fault. I shouldn't be angry at you. So, but if you put up a front, if you look timid, a bit shy, then to me, that's just a sign that you're already doubting yourself. And I normally get that from just talking to someone. So if they are confident, if they feel strong, we're able to have a laugh, you know, and it just feels like it's business. Okay, I'm in for a tough fight. Okay, let's go. But if they're like trying to look tough, you know, trying to really get in my face, I'm like, okay, you're probably more scared than I am. So like, we both like what we're doing. So if you're acting like this, I don't need to act like this because I know I'm tough. But if you need to act like this to show that you're tough, then are you really that tough? I don't know.
Without naming names, how many fighters have done that towards you?
I've had majority of them have always been very friendly. I think it's just because like I can't do a stare down. So I have to smile because like I get jittery. So if they smile back and I'm having a full conversation, then okay, I'm about to get tested. But I've had like a couple fighters come up and just be like, yeah, I'm really strong and I feel good. I don't know, just not be able to look me in the eye and like actually have a clean conversation. I'd be like, something's not right here. You know when you can just feel like a sixth sense.
Yeah.
But I take nothing from it there. I'm like, we're all nervous here at the end of the day anyway. Like we all want to win. So, but I just want to make friends. Like everyone I fight is doing exactly what I'm doing. So why can't I be friends with you at the end of the day? You know?
Yeah. Perfect, man. Now speaking about a different kind of nerves, thanks to Hammer, he's exposed me to some big celebrities in the fight scene like Anderson Silva, GSP, Borkow. Now I'm sure you've seen a lot of seminars with Hammer too. Do you still get jittery when you see big names like these?
I do, especially Silva. Like, man, like talking about like people being real on camera or like when you see them in person or when you have a conversation with them. It's like, I looked at Silva, and Silva's always been a really nice guy in his interviews, post fights. You know, he's just a genuine dude. He was probably one of the nicest people I've ever met, and he's a straight killer. So is Alistair Overeem. I remember doing a seminar with him at the gym, and Alistair Overeem, like he's a big scary guy, dude. He's from the Netherlands. He's a tough Dutch kickboxer, and I just remember having jokes with him. I'm like, that's like. For me, personally, that's what I respect more is like how you handle yourself, especially when you become so famous like Silva. And I just idolized him even more after that conversation. He took the time. Like I think I analyze people a lot, like from the background. It's just something I just keep doing. I really gotta stop doing that. But I remember Silva. He had a dinner straight after the seminar, but he's like, just wait till his management. He took a photo with everyone. And I find that probably the biggest characteristics for me that, you know, you were at the very top, but you were able to stay true, stay humble, you know, be yourself. I think that's probably the most important thing after seeing so many people at the gym. Like I do get in awe. There were some other big names that came through, but luckily, like fortunately for me, Hammer, him running the seminar, I sometimes get one-on-one interaction with them. And then you just get this vibe that they're not there for the right reasons or the right feel. And I look back, I'm like, okay, you're a great name, you're a great fighter, but like if you're going to treat people like that, like no disrespect, but if you're going to treat people like that, when you get to the top, what's the point of being at the top? You can just give it to everyone afterwards, if that makes sense.
It just gives someone like yourself a good sense of direction of how to act and how not to act by seeing how, you know, you can let fame run to the head.
That's it. Like I have become more comfortable with seeing famous people and be like, it used to be growing up, like, okay, I wish I was like them. And it's really funny when people are like, you are on the same stage as them now. And I look at them like, I'm not there. I'm not as big as them. I don't want to be. I don't ever want to have that feeling of fame. I always just want to be able to get to this level if I were to get to this level and still be able just to have a genuine conversation, be nice to everyone, you know, give them the time because everyone pays good money or everyone's come to see you. And if you don't want to go see them, then you're just being rude. And I don't want to ever be that guy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you're headlining shows in Australia now. I'm sure there's little kids out there when they see your face on head posters, they'll come to you asking for photographs, and I'm sure you'll give them all the time in the world.
And I'm shook. I'm just like, oh, like really me? Like in my head, I'm like, I'm still nobody. Like I'm still trying to reach the top of the ladder, if that makes sense. And like when I get a photo or two, I'm like, oh, 100%. Yeah. Let's take a photo together. Do you want, like, what else do you want? Do you want to take a 3 or 4? What do you want? Like, just let me do it. Like, it just gives me so much choice. So I don't understand when you get to the top level, like, should you, like, don't ever lose that. For me, I just don't ever want to lose that.
And that's going to make the day. They're going to take that with them, for the rest of their martial arts journey or however long they want to take it.
Yeah, that's it. And if you can leave a good and excellent footprint, a nice, humble one, I think that's just for me. I want to be a fighter. I want to be a top-class fighter, but I don't want to, belittle anyone else around me because to get to where I'm going, that's just not fair, Just do it through purely just competition,
Yeah. One more seminar photo. Yeah. What was it like wearing some kicks from Nathan Corbett?
The man, Nathan Corbett. He taught me a lot. I really enjoyed that seminar. Like,
one of the best seminars I've seen.
Yeah. He was just nice to know. I don't even know. Like, he just told me a lot about a left hook and like how to place it well. And then being able to demonstrate with him. He was like talking about getting to the top and still being able to have a conversation. Nathan Corbett's definitely one of the nicest people, will give you time and day. It was just nice just to be part of that seminar. Man, that's going back, dude. Like, look at me, like trying to get sponsored by Under Armour and like.
I was going to say Under Armour, your cow.
Yeah, man. I'm like, wow. And the hair, damn. But yeah, Nathan Corbett, that was a really cool seminar, dude. Like, yeah, he told me a lot about a low kick. Yeah, that's probably one person I want to idolize and how I want to teach a seminar. Probably won't kick as many people there, but
his seminars are brutal. It's like the demonstration from two people. Yeah. And
moving on. Wouldn't do that.
Moving on to our last few photos. Seeing you fight at the Doncaster Shopping Town Hotel wearing those pillow pads on your legs, from fighting an undercard, coming to the main event, and then moving on to glory, coming back, being a VIP, because you've seen VIPs at shows before. How do you rate the whole experience? How do you rate the whole journey?
If you love training, like I said at the start, I was never really interested in fighting. Like, I did well at Interclub, but it was like, that's probably as far as I'm going to go. Like, in my own head, like I had no ambition really chasing it.
It's funny because a lot of the pro top level fighters I've met, they've all said they've never wanted to fight from the start. It just happened. They just fell into it. Because I'm sure you've seen a lot of people, they'll say to you, hey, River, I want to fight UFC from the first day to get in. Most of the times they don't really last.
Yeah, same. Like, especially going back to my first fight too. My friend told me that he fought my opponent at Interclub and that he beat him. And that was the only reason. We were at China Bar just eating some food and he's like, I bet you can beat this guy. And then I was like, do you reckon I should do it? Habib's been asking me, so do you reckon I should just jump in? And then I got hooked. But I had no intention of making it like this. Like, I set out to always just win every fight, but I never thought I would take it this far. So in terms of, if you are interested, the slightest, I would say always just give it a shot. 1 fight, 2 fights, you still had a fight. You just tested yourself and you will learn so much about yourself, good and bad. And that's where I usually get hooked. I think after the first fight, I just wanted to improve. I wanted to just be a better fighter, leading on to my next fights. But then you just take all of these skills that you learn in the ring and then you apply them outside. Like, I think you can achieve anything now as long as you just try. You just put yourself forward, just give everything a shot. Going back to like taking up new hobbies, seeing as I can't be at the gym anymore, is I've picked up skateboarding and
awesome.
I've learned I have those feelings of when I first started in Muay Thai. I'm like learning how to throw a jab across a round kick, and like that when you land that in sparring and you're like, oh fuck, it actually worked. Like I have those feelings now when I'm like picking up the skateboard and trying to do an ollie or trying to like just basically like control the board. I'm having all of those feelings come back, and I did miss that. I miss that feeling of learning something and achieving when you get to like.
It's a humbling feeling too.
It's the best, man. It is the best feeling. And if you just like, if I didn't apply the same things like discipline, just keep trying, keep failing, keep working. I'm gonna get relatively good at it, but like I just learned all of that through fighting. So if you ever want to give it a shot, just do it. Even if it's one fight, even if it's an interclub, just challenge yourself, because you can only grow when you do challenge yourself. And so like that's all I want to do. I just want to keep pushing forward and keep trying to keep trying to achieve new things. I'm just trying to take that mentality of I started at the very start at Warriors Way, and I'm finally taking it this far with fighting. I'm like, what else can I do creatively, or what else can I do just to keep making myself a better person? So I'd put that out. That's my journey. That's what I've learned, and that's what I want to continue learning. Yeah.
That's perfect, man. Really well said. Well, thanks forever for your time. I really appreciate that. Hopefully some people have learned a lot about you and learned about your mindset in the sport, mate.
Yeah. Man, Will, I gotta say thank you, man. Like you've been part of my career since it all started. I wouldn't have an Instagram feed without you, to be honest with you.
I tell people I'm here to provide people with Tinder profiles, Facebook profiles, and like you said, taking up a new hobby. You took up skating. I'm taking up podcasting of this, so it's a learning experience.
That's it, man.
You got to grow during these times.
Oh, without a doubt. Like stagnation is probably the worst killer. Yeah. So like, just don't get comfortable. Keep trying new things. Man, I'm trying to pick up. I've been on Skillshare for like the last 2 weeks, learning about like Instagram, learning about filming. I don't know how well I'm going to be at it, but like I just got to keep trying, because I'm just going to keep myself entertained. Really.
I look forward to seeing it, man.
I'm trying my best. I've been thinking about starting a Twitch account. I'm terrible at video games though, bro. So I think my family have told me the best part of me is my rage. I rage quit, and I'm terrible. Yeah. I'm a terrible loser. So I think that's probably my Twitch theme. That's probably something I'm going to do just to keep myself active.
Yeah. I look forward to it, man. Well, thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you soon, either at the gym or either at the fights.
Easy, man. Thank you, Will. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Thanks for your time, man. Thank you.